everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, The Art of Persuasion, How to Engage Your Audience and Inspire Them into Action. Persuasion, influence, engagement, so important in your public speaking, in your presentations. The consequence of not being engaging, the consequence of not having influence, the consequence of not persuading is that you are just hot air. So good morning, everyone. Those late joiners, Helen and also Natalie, welcome. Peter Jew's my name, and I'm a public speaking trainer and coach. Today's webinar is about the art of persuasion, how to be more engaging and get your audience to take action and move. The definition of not doing that is that you are just hot air. Let me just share my screen. So welcome, everyone. Most of you, I think, have been on my webinars before. So let me just give you a quick overview how to participate. Please ask questions as we go. I'll keep an eye on the chat box and the Q&A box. Participate by putting your own comments in. If something comes to your mind or you have a question, please just type it into the chat box. Feel free to take notes. Most importantly, think about moving forward, what might you do differently as a result of today's webinar and the information I'm sharing with you? How might you be more persuasive? How might you be more engaging the next time you speak? I record these webinars, so should you miss something and wish to review it, just let us know and we can provide you with the recording of the webinar. So let's get started with persuasion, engagement, helping people move to action as opposed to just listening and nothing changes. So you need to craft persuasive messages. So the first thing about crafting persuasive messages is being able to identify what your core message is and being narrow and specific. Unfortunately, too many people do what I call scattergun approach or spray and pray, and they give us lots of information and no one's quite sure what that key message is or what that call to action is. When I run a workshop, I get people to do up and speak. I get people to stand up and speak. Then I get everyone to write down the core message they just heard and to please read it out. And if I've got 10 people in the room, clearly you want all 10 people to read out the same thing. If 2 or 3 people read out this and another 2 or 3 people read out a different thing, and the remaining 3 or 4 people read out something completely different, you've done scattergun approach and nobody knows what your core message was. So having that clarity of message and what the call to action is. A structure that will also make a big difference is, as well as having clarity of message, make sure the opening statement and your closing statement say similar things, and that way you've encased your core message within that structure and it cannot escape. Let me just show you what I mean by that. So if you've got your core message, you're absolutely clear of what it is. Then make sure the opening statement lets people know what they're going to be in for, what they're going to lead, what your message is going to lead to. And then in your closing statement, which can be a call to action or a summary, also reiterate. So your core message is locked within that opening and closing statement. All right. So it's the crafting the persuasive message that is really important. Clarity of purpose, how you're going to open, how you're going to close. That can lock your core message in. Think of it as in a tunnel, and the opening and the closing, the entrance to the tunnel and the exit, reiterate, re-emphasize what your core message is. And in crafting your core message, ensure that the message appeals to the emotions of the audience. It appeals to their logic, because people are logical thinkers. And this makes sense. I can see the benefits in this. I can see the advantages why we might do this. And really importantly, within your core message, and as you're preparing your presentation, you need to have some credibility in asking people to follow you. Persuasion relies on people having some credibility. If you've got a bad track history, if you're a fly-by-nighter, I've just started a new business doing public speaking training. I've been doing it for a couple of weeks, but trust me, I know what I'm talking about. No, I've been doing this for 16 years. So first step in being persuasion, in engaging, make sure you craft a persuasive message. Second thing is about engaging your audience. Don't be afraid to use storytelling. Storytelling is so powerful. We have a saying in public speaking and training: people don't remember what you've said. They'll remember how you make them feel. So your role is to create this visceral response, this response where people say, aha, I've got this. I can see light at the end of the tunnel. I now know a way forward. I can't remember your 4-step process or your 3 pillars of success, but your story has moved me so that I know that I've got this. I know that I can see a way forward. If you can use humor, that's great. I'm not very funny, so I tend to be not that funny. I don't use that much humor in my presentations, but I do use anecdotes. I love metaphors and personal experiences when I've worked with people that were really struggling and they've been successful in their public speaking. They've gone out, they've nailed their presentation. They've put some strategy in place that I've taught them. I love to use those stories as a way of engaging people, and encourage your audience to participate. And when I'm running a workshop, this is the model that I use. I do tell, I talk to people, then I show. Maybe I do a PowerPoint. Maybe I do a drawing. Not that I can draw very well with my mouse. And then, of course, ask a question. So what are you going to do to be more engaging in your next presentation? Are you good at storytelling? Have you done my storytelling webinar in the past? Are you aware that if what you say does not add to your story, by definition, it detracts from your story? And share. And share. Tell, show, ask, share. Share can be, would anyone like to comment? Could someone type something in the chat box? What techniques have you seen people to engage? If I've got 100 people in the room or 200 people in the room, I'll ask people, pair up. If there's a group of 3, that's okay. Turn to the person next to you. Have a quick share on what you think's the most valuable thing you've learnt so far. Tell, show, ask, share. The beauty of this is that one moment. The beauty of this is that when you tell, It means you're appealing to people's auditory learning. So this is for the auditory learner. When you show, so you do a PowerPoint slide, in a workshop I do a flip chart, maybe I do a handout, I have a look at this, then I'm appealing to what we call visual learners. I want to ask you, how would you deal with this? And it can be a metaphorical or a rhetorical question. What would you do in this situation? If that was you, how might you handle it? If your team was going through that scenario, or your organization was struggling with these particular circumstances, how might you deal with that? Or turn to the person next to you, what's been most valuable? Turn to the person next to you, how would you deal with this situation? And of course, that appeals to the kinesthetic learners. So by going through this cycle, tell, show, ask, share, I'm appealing to auditory learners, visual learners, and of course, kinesthetic learners. So that is my engagement model. It is just an adult learning model, and it enables people to keep thinking, and it appeals to all learning styles. Are there any questions on that? Any comments? On that engagement model? Have people got any ideas? What do you do to engage people? So you notice 6 a.m. pre-start meeting, if you're in the mining sector, or a lunchtime toolbox meeting, people have had a belly full of food and they're starting to zone out. What might you do to bring people back? Asking questions is one of the things you can do. Use people's names. So Anita, what do you think about this? Vicky, I'd really appreciate your thoughts. Helen, you had a similar situation a couple of weeks ago. Would you like to share how you dealt with that? These are some of the things you can do to be more engaging. Yep. So pair up into groups of 3. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Come up with all the different strategies you have for overcoming adversity, all the different strategies you have for dealing with conflict in the workplace. Yep, I'll give you, 3 minutes to do that. Now, no need to do that. What I'm saying is, what do you do when you find you need to engage? Using people's names definitely wakes them up. Yeah, so this is a webinar. If this was a Teams meeting or a Zoom's meeting, I would have all your cameras open and I'd see your faces as well. Because this is a webinar and less of a meeting, I'm just delivering short, sharp content. But when I see people's cameras turned off, I will ask them, Bill, are you still there, Bill? How are you going? I can't see you. And this will generally wake people up as well. All right. Tell, show, ask, share. Really good engagement model. Just check any more questions. Q&A. Yep. All right. To be persuasive, you need to deliver with confidence. One of the things I say in public speaking is that the first sale must be to yourself. Public speaking, giving people a new idea, a new set of instructions, asking people to follow you for a different way of thinking is marketing, is selling a new way of doing things. So in marketing, the first sale must be to yourself. So your body language, your voice, your vocal variety, all of that must show congruence and belief in what you're saying. If you don't believe what you're saying, the audience will pick a fake a mile away. So please, you need to deliver with confidence. So your voice, your enthusiasm, your passion must come through. In my workshops, there's some people I'll mention, look, Your eye contact is very evasive. Your eye contact is looking at everywhere but your audience. I would be unlikely to buy a second-hand car off you. I don't kind of trust you. And then other people, they make eye contact, their body language. And this is as the workshop goes on, I coach them, support them. And then I'll say, aha, I will now buy a second-hand car off you. Think of the second-hand car as your message. Even with nerves, and it's a bigger group, you still need to come across looking confident. And I love the TED talk by Amy Cuddy around faking it till you become it, fake it till you make it. Your non-verbal communication determines who you are. So if you want to be persuasive, deliver with confidence, use your voice, use your non-verbal communication. Even though you're nervous, come on stage and you'll make a difference. Address objections. This is for persuasion and engagement. You're asking people to do something different. You're asking people to follow you. You're asking people to change the way they think, to adopt a new way of thinking. There's going to be objections. That's a stupid idea. Why would we do that? Tell me why. Why do we have to change? I don't like change. I like the way things are. These are objections that you're going to have thrown at you when you're speaking around a new idea, a new way of doing things. So identify those objections before you go on stage. If I was one of my audience and they were listening to me, what would I say in objection? So prepare those objections, those questions, and of course, prepare responses. So when someone says, oh, this is not going to work, there's a lot of risks involved with this, you might say, yes, I know there are these risks. However, this also mitigates and reduces those risks. And it also enables us to increase productivity while reducing those risks. And those objections, clever people take those objections on board, they acknowledge them. I also had similar self-doubts myself when I was first told this idea. But by looking at it really carefully, I can see that there's more benefits than there is risks. So turn those objections into opportunities to further sell, to further demonstrate the benefits of what you're proposing in your presentation. And we've spoken about the benefits. So in being persuasive, you need to outline the benefits of what you're talking about, not the features. In other words, your audience, what's in it for me? Not what's in it for you as the speaker. Get into your audience footsteps. What's in it for me, Peter? How's this going to help me move forward? How's this going to help me in my business? How's this going to help me overcome my problem or achieve my goals, my key performance indicators? Focus on what's in it for them. And that's the so what. That's the so what message. The other day at a workshop, I went around the room and I asked people, so what do you do? And I heard a lot of people say, I am an engineer. I've been doing this for 16 years. I also have postgraduate qualifications and I'm very good at my job. And I could have said, oh, that's nice. So what? So what? What does that mean to the audience? So let me outline the importance and help you conceptualize the idea of selling or persuading based on benefits, not features. Simply put, people buy on benefits, not on features. Now, same time in history, roughly. Bill Gates got on stage and he said, I give you the latest MP3 music player. Beautiful. Comes in 4 different colors, 250 megabytes of memory, 7 hours of battery life, holds 2,365 songs. I give you the latest MP3 music player. feature, 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 feature. And then at the same time, roughly, Steve Jobs goes on stage and he says, I give you the iPod, your entire music library in your pocket for you to access anywhere, anytime. Your entire music library in your pocket for you to access anywhere, anytime. And then, of course, the MP3 player. Let's bring in another color. So now we've got 5 colors, and let's increase the battery life from 7 hours to 8 hours. Who cares? Who cares? Feature, 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 feature. People do not buy features, they buy the benefit. When you go down to Bunnings to buy an electric drill, you're not buying an electric drill, 250 kilowatts, 3-speed, reverse. You just want to erect the kids' cubby house. You just want to make the kids their cubby house. It's been in the backyard, you've got the timber, you've got the plan, and it's just lying there. You've just been waiting for the drill. The kids are waiting for the cubby house. They're not interested in the drill. So please understand, if you want to be persuasive, make sure you sell on the benefits, not the features. The difference is really the so what, or the what's in it for me, whereas the features are all the little details. So in summary, in crafting and putting together a persuasive and engaging message, make sure it's persuasive. So what's in it for them? Be clear on the clarity of the message. Engage your audience. Remember the tell, show, ask, share. Deliver with confidence. This is your non-verbal communication. This is your body language. This is your voice, your stance, the smile. This is letting your audience know that I want to be here. There's no place I'd rather be. Be ready to address the objections, because in persuasion, everything's looking good, and then a good objection comes in and everyone's looking at that objection. And if you don't handle it well, your influence, your persuasion disappears, because the objection's really good and you can't handle it. Addressing objections is really important in being persuasive and influential. And then focus on the benefits, seal the benefits, not the features. Next workshops, Karatha, Monday the 4th of November, Tuesday the 5th of November. Had a Perth workshop last week. Webinars for those of you who are webinar junkies. 11th of November, a couple of weeks' time, overcoming anxiety. So some techniques to be more confident with your public speaking, whether it's in 50 people, in front of 50, 100 or 250 people. This is really nerve-wracking stuff. I've got some tips to help you deal with that anxiety and those nerves. And remember I said about the topping and the tailing, if you want to be more persuasive. Well, I'm going to focus on just the bottom, the tailing, how to craft a memorable closing, leaving them with that lasting impression. And of course, this is one of the tools of being persuasive, that last statement you say. So if any of those webinars of value, jump on and register. All my webinars are free. They are recorded, which means you can review them. And if you're unavailable, you're doing something else, work crops up, please send an email to Christine or myself, and we will make the recording available for you. So my information, love any further comments. Send me an email if you've got any questions. And yeah, thank you for your participation. Now remember, persuasion, influence matters. If we don't, by definition, we're standing up and we're just being hot air. We're doing scattergun and we're not having impact. The reason we stand is we want people to walk out with new knowledge, new information. We want them to take action. We want them to feel different as a result. And that's the art of persuasion and influence. And to do that, you need to have a persuasive argument. you need to be engaging. If you don't, you're just hot air. What tools are you going to use moving forward to be more persuasive and more engaging? Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.